Today we are talking about slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. If you think back to the last lesson, in the last lesson we were doing y equals kx, right? So instead of y equals mx plus b, we were doing y equals kx. Remember, k stood for our constant of proportionality. That means it was proportional. So when it was in y equals kx form, the graph looked like what? What did it look like when it was y equals kx? A straight line through the origin. Okay? Notice today we changed the variable. It's no longer k, it's now m. M stands for our slope or our rate of change. What does a constant rate of change look like on a graph? What's a constant rate of change look like?
Something that goes up or down in the same amount.
So what does that make it look like? A straight line. Very good. So when it was y equals kx, it was a straight line through the origin. When it's y equals mx plus b, it's just a straight line. Okay, so that's the difference. That's why we're changing out the variable today. Okay, because one was a straight line through the origin, the other one's just guaranteeing it's a straight line. So m here stands for slope. M stands for slope. And b is a new variable. We haven't talked about this yet. B is our y-intercept. Y-intercept. Okay, B is y-intercept. So our slope, we've talked about that a lot. You guys already know that slope is a rate of change between 2 points. Rate of change, make sure we're writing this down, between 2 points. And we look at that as what over what? What two R words do we use? Rise over run. Very good. Rise over run. Then for our y-intercept, our new part, the new part, the y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. The point where the line crosses the y-axis. Can you guys show me with your arm which way does y-axis go? Yeah, straight up and down. So you might even want to put y-axis goes this way, just as a reminder. My y-axis is the one that's straight up and down. Now, something that I was taught when I was in middle school, and I think it's very helpful, is I want you to go ahead and write down y equals mx plus b, right off to the side here. And we think of our b, our y-intercept, is the point where we begin. The point where we begin. So we're going to plot our point on the y-axis, and that's where we're beginning. Then we think of our m, our slope, as how we move from that first point. And those words usually tend to help people more, thinking of it as begin and move rather than slope and y-intercept. This is what they really mean. These are the words people tend to use to remember them. Okay? So I promise you, this part is literally as easy as it seems. It says identify the slope and y-intercept in the following equations. Right above this, I want you to write y equals mx plus b. Okay? What letter did we use for slope? M. What letter did we use for y-intercept? B. Okay? Now, I tend to always start with the y-intercept because that's our begin. That's the point where we begin at. So I always tend to talk about y-intercept first. So if you're looking at this equation, what was my y-intercept? What number is my y-intercept? Evelyn? 2. 2 is my y-intercept. Guys, it's literally this easy. It's literally just looking at that at the end. It was a positive 2 at the end. Okay? So what is my slope, my m value? Don't think too hard. What is my slope, my m value? Rain? 6. It's right here. Now, the only thing is we like to write it as a rise over run. So we want it as a fraction. How do I write any number as a fraction? Put it over 1. Very good. That's it, guys. That's all we're doing on this. So on the next one, what is my b, my y-intercept? Very good. Way to use that sign with it. -3. What is my slope? And you don't even have to do the boxes. I'm just doing this to make it more obvious of where we're getting these numbers from for anybody that might be lost. Yeah, right here. -4/5. Perfect. Okay. On number 3, what is my y-intercept? Kaylin? Not really. There is none. What number do we use for that? If we're saying there's nothing there, what number do we use for that, Kaylin? 0. Guys, that's really like we have plus 0 at the end. If we have plus 0, that means my y-intercept is 0. What is my slope on this one, Aiden? How do I write it? 4 over? Very good. 4 over 1. Now, I want to talk to you about this number 3 for a second. Was this y equals 4x? Was that in direct variation form? Yeah, it was in y equals kx form. So please, please listen to this. If it was in y equals kx form, we said we knew it was going to be a straight line through, which is 0, 0. We knew it was going to be starting at 0, at the origin. Okay? So the only time my y-intercept goes through 0, 0 is actually when it's in a direct variation form today. Okay? So if you get one that's a direct variation and doesn't have anything, that one's actually proportional. It is a straight line, has a constant slope throughout, and it starts at the origin, at 0 for the y-intercept. Okay? I want you to take 30 seconds and do 4, 5, and 6. Shouldn't take you any longer than that. On number 4, Raylan, what do we have as our y-intercept? 3. Very good. What do we have as our slope, Chelsea?
5 over 1.
Very good. 5 over 1. Number 5, Haley, what is my y-intercept? -1. And Valeria, what is my slope? 2 over 3. Fantastic. Alexa, on the next one, what is my y-intercept? 0. Great. And Carly, what is my slope? -3 over 1. Great. Does anybody have any questions on these? These are the easy ones. Okay, these are the easy ones. The rest of the problems are more involved today. Okay, flip it over. When you flip it over, this is when you're going to need your straight edge. Okay, this is when you're going to need that popsicle stick out. All right? So now we are graphing with slope-intercept form. So they'll give us the equation and we have to graph that line. So the very first thing you're going to do is you are going to plot the y-intercept on the y-axis. Plot the y-intercept on the y-axis. Then the next thing is you're going to start at that y-intercept, and you're going to plot the remaining points using the slope. Remember, slope, we said we're going to talk about it as rise over run. Rise over run. So we're going to begin at our y-intercept. From there, we're going to move using our rise over run. And then the last part is to draw a line using your straight edge through the points. Okay? So I'm going to walk you through this, but you're going to really want to make sure that you are paying attention up on the board of how I'm doing this so that you know you're doing it correctly as well on your paper. So for number 1, what is my y-intercept, Hallie? 3, very good. So on my y-axis here, it's positive 3. So I'm going to go up to positive 3 and put a point. That's where I am beginning. Okay, everybody put your point where you're beginning. Then, what is my slope, Jackson? So how would I write that? 1 over 1. If that is my rise over my run here, my rise over my run, rising a positive 1 means I'm going which way? Up 1. Running a positive 1 means I'm going which way? Right 1. So go up 1, right 1, put a point. And guys, we're going to keep doing that until we get all the way across the graph. Up 1, right 1, 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 and that's as far as I can go that direction. Because I want to make sure this is a really good line, I'm not going to use my popsicle stick yet. Okay, because a lot of times I see people start to do that, and then it still doesn't quite go where it's supposed to go on the other side of it. So now we're going to go the opposite way. Instead of up 1, we're going to go down 1. Instead of right 1, we're going to go left 1, down 1, 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 left 1, continue all the way across. Once you have points all the way across, then we're going to take our straight edge and we're going to connect our points. Go all the way across the graph, and I'm even putting arrows at the end of my line so that you know the line really extends on, it's just my graph is done. Okay? We're slightly behind the other classes, so I'm going to pick up the pace. Okay, the next one. Number 2. Where is my y-intercept? Where am I beginning? James P. Negative 1. So on my y-axis, I'm going to go down because that's where negatives are. Down to negative 1 and put your point. Okay. Then what is my slope on this one, Valeria? So if I'm thinking of this as rise over run, negative 2 means I'm going which way, guys? Down 2, positive 3, right 3. Don't say over. I don't know which way over means. So down 2, right 3, down 2, right 3. I can only go 3 points, and then I'm all the way across the graph. I can't go any farther. So now I'm going to go back to my red point, which was my y-intercept. And then I'm going to go the opposite way. So instead I'm going up 2, left 3, up 2, left 3, up 2, left 3. And again, I can only go 3 more points. Once you have those points, now take your straight edge. And like I have to turn my paper, you might have to do that to make sure you can line things up well. And put your line and your arrows. Okay, we're going to start number 3. Number 3, James A., where's my y-intercept? 0. So I'm going to go to the origin and put my begin points. Olivia, what is my slope? So Aubrey, how does that mean I'm going to move? Up to, which way? Right 1, up to right 1, up to right 1, up to right 1, up to right 1. That's as far as I can go. What would be the opposite way then? Instead of up to right 1, we'll go down to left 1, down to left 1, down to left 1, down to left 1, down to left 1. Make your line. I cannot give you a whole lot of time, but I can give you a minute maybe to try number 4 then on your own. So go ahead and try that one. This one actually can only have a total of 3 points because otherwise you're off the graph. So if you feel like you don't have enough points, you probably are correct. You only can do 3 points and then it's going off the graph. Got about 10 seconds and I'm going to have to show it to you. Okay. So on this one, my y-intercept was 1, so I went to positive 1 on my y-axis. Then my slope was negative 6 over 1, so I went down 6, right 1. I can't go any farther down because then I'd be off the graph. So then I have to go the opposite way. I went up 6, left 1. And again, that's as far as I can go. So those are my only 3 points that I can use to make my line. So that's what it should look like. Make any fixes that you might need to. Does anybody have any questions on these? Because this is what about half of your homework looks like. So we need to make sure that we know how to do this. And we are not packing up, so please don't start to. Okay? If you don't quite have this, this is going to be posted on Google Classroom. You can always go back and look at it, but we got to keep moving. So then there are some special cases we have to talk about. It says, what happens if the slope is 0? It's going to end up looking like this, but it would actually be y equals 0x plus 6. If the slope is 0, if my m is 0, this is what it actually looks like. So you should be writing this in. What that means is 0 times x is 0. 0 plus 6. It just simplifies down to this. So this is what it's going to look like. This is what it actually means. So it says when the slope is 0, that means there is no x variable. So we just plot the y-intercept. We just plot the y-intercept and draw a horizontal line through it. Can you show me with your arms what way is horizontal? Evelyn, that's a diagonal. Yeah, like this. Very good. That's horizontal. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go up to our positive 6 on our y-axis and put our begin point there. And then if I go straight across left and right, that is where all the values of y are 6, all the way across the graph. Okay, and I should be using my straight edge, but I'm trying to kind of rush here, so my line wasn't good. Okay, I want to get one more done. So if you look at y equals negative 4x, where am I going to begin this time? Where am I going to begin? Or y equals -4. I think I said it wrong. Yeah, so on your y-axis, go down to -4. I know it's super small. I'm sorry, guys. Do the best you can. And then you're going to draw a horizontal line because that's where y is -4, all the way across. I'm not worried about what the x value is. I'm just worried that y will always be -4, wherever it is. Okay? Once you have that, pack up. If you have not yet, I want you to go ahead and try this one. Some classes you had a chance, some classes you did not. So what would y equals 2 look like? Go ahead and draw out the line. What will it look like? Draw out the line. Hopefully, this is what you're doing. You're going to your y-axis, and you're putting a point at y equals 2. And then you're using your straight edge to draw a horizontal line going this way and going this way. So right and left, because all the way across here is where my y is 2. If y is 2 right here, here it's still 2. Here it's still 2. If I went all the way across, here it's still 2. Okay, all of these points, my x value is changing. How far left and right, my x value is changing, but my y value is not. That is where it is 2 all the way across. Okay? The other special case is, what if slope is undefined? What does the line look like? Do you remember if it is undefined? Which way does the line go? Yeah, it goes straight up and down. Very good. Okay, it goes straight up and down. That's because if you remember, our slope is really a number over 0. Anytime you have a slope that is a number over 0, that's when it's going to be undefined because you cannot divide by 0. Okay? So that meant there was a rise, but we're not running. We're not moving left or right. All right? So it says when the slope is undefined, that means there is no y-intercept. So this is the only time we do not start on our y-axis. If it's x equals something, that's the only time we will not start on our y-axis. The line would be expressed as x equals, and then I'm going to put this, you're going to think it's a hashtag. It's just telling me that it's going to be a number. X equals some number is how it's going to be written. And it would go through the x-axis and be a vertical line. Okay, so this time is the only time we're going to the x-axis. So if x is equal to -7, on the x-axis, go to -7. Put your point. And this time it's a vertical line. If you have a hard time remembering, put that next to it. Vertical means straight up and down. So it's just going to be a vertical line on that -7. So straight up and down from that point. That's what it looks like for x equals -7. Okay? I know, again, that these are small down here. Do the best you can. The next one is x equals -4. So on your x-axis, go to -4 and put a small point. I know it's super small. And then again, it's going to be a vertical line because the slope is undefined. Undefined lines are vertical lines. So straight up and down. And then try the last one on your own. The last one would look like this. On my x-axis, I'd go to +2. And then because it's an undefined slope, that means it's going to go straight up and down. It's going to be a vertical line. So I use my straight edge and make my vertical line. Is that okay? Are there any questions about the special cases? Honestly, these don't come up very often, but at least now you know what they look like in case they do come up. Okay, flip the page then. All right, so now we're going the opposite way. Before we were given the equation, and we had to know what the slope is, we had to know what the y-intercept was, and we had to be able to graph it. Now they're giving you the graph, and you have to come up with your slope and y-intercept so that you can write the equation. So it's going to be just backwards from this. First, you're going to look where that crosses the y-axis, and you're going to write down your y-intercept. Then to the next point, you're going to say, okay, what was my rise over my run? You're going to write down your slope. And then you're going to write down what the equation would look like. So if we look at letter A, okay, what is my B value? Where did I begin? What is my y-intercept? Evelyn?
1.
Right here, it's positive 1. Okay, right there. So B is 1. Now, if I'm trying to go to the next point from there, from that red point that I have to this point, how did I rise? First of all, did I go up or down? From this point to this point, did I go up or down? Up. How many? 2. Is that positive 2 or negative 2? So write positive 2 over, what was my run? Positive or negative? It went to the right, so it's positive 1. So it's 2 over 1. Can we simplify that? That's just 2. Good. So remember, my equation is y equals mx plus b. So when I write it, I'm filling in my m and I'm filling in my b. What would my equation look like, Jacob?
Y equals 2x plus 1.
Perfect. Nice job. Y equals 2x plus 1. I'm just plugging these in. Here's my m. Here's my b. That's all I'm doing. Is that okay? Let's look at b. Where is my y-intercept? Where is my begin, Aubrey? What number? 3, right here. Very good. And it's a positive 3. Nice job. Then, if I am moving from that point to my next point, Ella, how am I moving?
Down.
How many?
2.
So what would that be? What number?
Negative 2.
Very good. Down 2 is negative 2. And then
Over to the right 3.
right 3. And would that be positive or negative? Positive 3. So that's negative 2/3. Xander, if I have to write my equation, what would that look like?
Negative 2/3.
Start with the whole equation.
Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3.
Very good. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Don't ever forget that y equals at the front. That's actually a common mistake. Any questions so far? Let's try C together. Aaliyah, where is my begin on this one? Where's my y-intercept? Negative 2. Nice job on the sign. Negative 2. And the line's printed poorly on this, so it's kind of hard to see, but there is supposed to be a line right here and a line right here. You can kind of tell there's a bigger gap. So if you need to add those in with your pencil, that might make it easier to count. I don't know why it printed so poorly on certain lines but not other lines. Okay? So on this one, what was my rise on this? Braxton, what was my rise? Positive or negative? Good, positive 3. And let's see, Olivia, what was my run on this? Positive or negative? Very good. Up 3, right 4 is 3 over 4. So, Breeza, what would my equation look like? Do we really need plus -2, or could we just say -2? Very good, Breeza. Nice job. Okay, y equals 3/4 x minus 2. Do we need to do a couple more together, or do you think you got the hang of it so far? Okay, then I want you to jump down and do these two. We don't have time to do every single one. So do F and H. F and H. Try those two. Bless you. On F, Carson, where is your begin? 0. So my y-intercept is 0. Colin, what is my move? Good. Nice job on the directions there, too. Down 1 is -1. Right 2 is +2. So who can tell me what my equation would look like? Go ahead, Xander.
Y equals -1 over 2 plus 0. Or no, just leave it at x.
X. Good. I think you forgot to say that the first time around. So y equals -1/2 x. You do not need the +0 at the end. +0 does not change anything. So this one actually is in y equals kx form. This one actually is a straight line through the origin. Now, please do not use their lines as good examples. Their lines should actually go all the way across the graph. If you do not draw your line all the way across, I will take points off, okay? So do not use theirs as a good example. All right, letter H. My B value, my y-intercept. Josiah? -3, very good. What about my move on this one? Jackson? How did you get -1? So we only look at the rise? Ah, very good. It was -1 over 1. Rise was -1, run was +1, and that simplifies to -1. Very good. So Olivia, what would my equation look like? I disagree. Can you say it one more time in case you I just didn't hear it? What was our slope? Yeah, it was -1. I didn't hear a negative anywhere in your equation. Plus, we should know it's negative because the line is going down. Okay? When you were looking at them, up is positive, down is negative. Up is positive, up is positive, down negative, negative, negative. This last one was negative. Who thinks they know what the equation should look like? Evelyn, go ahead.
Y equals -1x minus 2.
Now, you can write it that way. That's not actually the best way to write it. What's the best way to write it, Josiah?
Y equals -x minus 2.
Very good. Now, I will take either one. This is just the best way to do it. Okay, that's the best way to do it. Okay, are there any questions on those? Yes, ma'am.
What is the like -1x from?
What did I just say?
It's the best way, but like what do you think on the test?
And I just said the answer to that. I said I will take both of them, but this is the best way. Okay, so yes, I will still take it. Okay, go ahead and flip the page. Okay. On the bottom, it says, Student Council is selling t-shirts during Spirit Week. It costs $20 for the design and $5 to print each shirt. The cost Y to print X shirts is given by the equation Y equals 5X plus 20. Interpret both the slope and the y-intercept. Okay? So what is my y-intercept in this equation? What is my y-intercept? Go ahead. Positive 20. So my y-intercept is this positive 20. In this story problem, we have to say what the y-intercept means. If this is what it means to begin, okay, what are we talking about in the context of this problem? The context of this problem, what is the 20 meaning? To start, we have to do what? What does this mean in the context of this problem? No one has any idea? I'll read the story problem again. Student council is selling t-shirts during Spirit Week. It costs $20 for the design and $5 to print each shirt. The cost y to print x shirts is given by the equation y equals 5x plus 20. So what is that 20 talking about? Does it mean to start with Mrs. Lundley owns 20 pairs of shoes? No. What does it mean, Jackson? Okay, but I need to know in the context of this story, what is it talking about? Breeza. Okay, so to start with, we have to pay $20. So we're going to say the initial cost is $20 for a design. That's what the y-intercept is talking about. We begin by paying $20. All right, so what is my slope talking about then? First of all, what is my slope? Anybody, what number? 5. So what is my 5 talking about then in the context of this problem? Breeza. So then I have to do what? Well, I can't just write what you said. It wouldn't make sense with what else I've put. So the initial cost is $20 for a design. Then I pay $5 to print each shirt. Okay, then you pay $5 to print each shirt. Okay, we're going to skip this one just because of time. Again, the answer will be posted on Google Classroom. You can just look at this one for now. So now, instead of it written as a story problem, we're looking at the graph. So it says interpret the slope and the y-intercept. Where is my y-intercept on this graph? 82, very good. What is this talking about in the context of this problem? Look at your labels, look at what it's talking about. Before, I said in the last one, the initial cost is $20 for a design. What would I say on this one? The initial temperature is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. The initial temperature is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Very good. Now, the slope. Is it going up or down?
Down.
It's going down by how many? Down by 2 and right by?
2.
Ooh, be careful.
1.
1. So it's going down 2 degrees Fahrenheit every 1 what? Hour. Very good. So then we're going to say -2 means it drops 2 degrees Fahrenheit per hour. Or for each hour, however you want to say it. That's how we would write that. Are there any questions on this? Remember, you can always see more examples that we didn't get to on Google Classroom on the notes posted.